push down. Okay? And again, I'm in a safe position. I got a good strong base. Okay? I'm not going to do that for a long period of time, and it's just an adaptation. Again, it's just something that I found that I do that I like. It's in a good position, and it kind of flows along with the subscapular motion that I'm doing. Just pushing, pulling. Make sense?
Yep.
Everybody's good?
Yep.
Okay. Elbow. So you can do elbow any which way you want. Towards the heart, away from the heart. Elbow is going to be the same thing. You're going to use the flat of the elbow, try to get this tissue involved, or this tissue involved, which is going to be a little bit more difficult. Don't just bear down with your razor Gerber edge here. Alright, because that's going to hurt a little bit, especially if you have somebody that's a little petite, a little bit more petite, and you can feel the bones, the ribs, or the spine. Not good times. So all I'm doing, again, good strong base here, adjusting my angle for the back. Let's say Jim's back, I'd be able to go a little bit more like this, a little bit wider back. So hers is a little bit more narrow, but I like this position anyway because I feel when I get to this position, a lot more stress on my shoulder joint. I don't like that because now I feel like I'm doing a little bit more delt pushing instead of pushing here just with my back leg. Okay, so I'm just pushing here and I get down. How's the pressure?
Good.
I get down here, I can let a little bit more weight sit on and push down the post-iliac crest as I come in. How's that feel?
Good.
Okay, and then contact with the hand as I come up. Okay? Pushing with the elbow. Simple. You could do the same thing with any part of the legs. I'm sure you don't need me to show you that. It's very simple. You'll have a time to get on the table and do that. But you're going to adhere to those same things, using the ulnar side, being mindful of bone-on-bone surfaces, bone-on-bone contact. Since we're here, I'll do part pushing on post-iliac crest. Okay, part pushing, post-iliac crest, and QL. So here is her. We'll get a little line started here so you can see it. Is that too much pressure? All right, well, you just tell me when it is. Although I don't think that'll come for a while. So right in this red part, that's the post-iliac crest. That's the line of the post-iliac crest. So everything below here, a lot of attachments. For instance, tender.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of attachments. There's a lot of acupressure points here. There's a lot of bladder points. I think a couple of special points as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stand at the head of the table, take my hands, basically start right lateral of the SI joint, and then fingertips pressure in and down.
That looks like it feels good.
And this is a good way to warm the tissues because they're very fibrous, most of these. We're dealing with a lot more fascial tissues than we are muscle tissues. We are dealing with some muscle tissues. There are some meridians that come along here. We have some gallbladder meridian contact, bladder meridian contact. So we're working the meridians as well as softening up those posterior tissues of the pelvis, which are just very, very good. And you can see we're getting a little Shaw coming up. So we're getting that pushing, that gua sha pushing at the bottom. I'm going to show that a little bit more deeper up here, but we're getting some of that right here, which is going to be really good.
What is Shaw?
It's this.
The red?
Yep. I'll show it more here when we do a little bit more deeper stuff. But that's good. That's good to get up. It's good to get up for sure. Then we can do the same thing right above the post-iliac crest at that QL region. So right in here, it's a little tender. And we often get a little bunch up, so the post-iliac crest will come up to the last rib, whether it be 12th or 13th or whatever rib you have there. because the QL will come up. You ever see this?
Yeah.
Okay, shortening my QL on my left side. Nothing here on the right side. So this, over a period of time, let's say 13 years like this, short leg left side. Short leg left side, back problems, hip problems, knee problems, whatever, just from the way you stand. So this, all this QL muscle does is hike the hip. That's it.
Pretty Michael Jackson.
So you want to make sure that if you see someone doing that, especially a client, like I see clients doing they're sitting talking to me, so when do you want to make an appointment? I'm like, is that how you stand all the time? Huh? They appreciate it. I mean, you pick your ones, but so right here in the middle, same thing. Right here, I'm going to start with my pressure, and then follow it down. Pressure, Kim?
Mm-hmm.
You can see the same thing is happening again.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to do that. You could also lighten your pressure, maybe a little bit slower. Same thing, you're pushing. Does not matter.
Wow.
So you wouldn't need to go to that level. I just realized that she's probably going to like it and benefit from it, as you can tell. So this is going to be the gua sha pushing. So let me know if this gets too tender. You'll have to give me about 45 seconds. Breathe through it. Let me know if you have. Do you have any shoulder issues in either side, one or the other?
No.
Not that you know of.
This one's always like tight, but
Is it? Okay. So, in gua sha, you're going to learn gua sha the same day you do cupping. Okay? So, in gua sha, the Chinese have used a tool. Either it's a jade stone, or an oxen bone. You could use probably a rounded rock or another object. And it's slight downward pressure and then quick frequency. And what that does is essentially causes this little bit of suction as you move over the skin, and superficially you start to draw up the toxins, the stagnation, interstitial waste, metabolic waste, things like that. Same thing that cupping does. Cupping just does it at a very deep level. Gua sha does it at a much more superficial level. So I stole this from Justin. This is something Justin showed us, and I've been doing it ever since. I love it. He does it. He'll probably show it too if he gets a chance. But it's very simple. You're just going to use your fingers to do the exact same thing. So I use my fingers here, and then I take my other hand and I put a little bit more pressure down at the fingertips, so I don't have to waste all my energy and chi through my fingers. So a slight downward pressure, well, actually quite a bit of downward pressure, and then going down the back. And you can already see some things happening with that shoulder, because this is a good amount of pressure. So I'm going to start there just to see how much is going to happen, and to give her a taste of what's going to transpire. So as long as she's breathing, see, this is going to come up big time. Then I'll go for about 45 seconds.
oh
About
my god.
50 to 60 strokes. You can already see the blood stasis come up.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
10 seconds.
It looks like a big bruise.
5.
Wow.
How's it feel, Kim?
What did you do? I want to see it.
So if it's okay with Kim, I want everyone to touch that. Feel all the heat that's coming out of the tissue.
Whoa.
And that'll be hot for a couple of hours, or at least warm. So the darker the area, that's more metabolic waste, and 9 times out of 10, that's where the blood stasis is at. When you get these little specks here of darkened blood, that's blood stasis. So think of every muscle spindle, every muscle fiber as a hose. Okay, it's like a fiber optic hose, but it's a hose. And at birth, all those hoses have clear energy. Water gets to run through those hoses. But the more you use the muscles, and the more you have metabolic waste, and you have waste in the interstitial fluid and so on and so forth, they start to coagulate and bind up, right? That's diet induced, that's rest induced, that's stress induced, all of those things. When you start to get that stuff people come in and report they have a stiff muscle or they have a tight area, and you're having a hard time massaging that, usually that's an indication that there's a lot more going on there than just a tight muscle. There's an inefficiency. Your car is at the place where it needs to go to the shop and get thousands of dollars done to it before it's going to run optimally again. So this is what we're doing. We're taking and essentially we're drawing all of this to the surface so that the body can reintroduce it to the circulatory system and then excrete it properly. Okay, so this is hidden. This isn't going to come usually unless they do a lot of cleansing and detoxing. This isn't going to come up very easily. So it doesn't look like we're doing them a favor. We're doing them a favor. And I have so many testimonials that will attest to that.
So that's just waste coming to the surface.
Yep.
Wow.
Can you do that anywhere in the body or just there?
I've done it pretty much everywhere. Everywhere that it's applicable and everywhere that it's easy to do. It's very difficult to do on female in the pecs, just for the nature of the beast, so I don't do it there. Males, yes, I'll do it, but it's just different. It's a little different anyway. I've done it on the hamstring, I've done it on the adductors, I've done it on the knee, I've done it on the quads, I've done it on anterior tibialis, I've done it on the perineals.
How do you
Or
get the
peroneus
knee?
longus, I mean. What's that?
How do you get the knee?
That sounds like it would hurt.
Thumbs, fingers, different angles. I'll use my gua sha tool on some areas like peroneus longus, gua sha. I've done the trap, elbow or tricep, forearm, front and back, neck, hip flexor, rectus femoris as it comes into the ASIS. Any place I can do it, I'll do it.
And that was just
If it's-
pushing with 3 fingers or 2?
Yep. Well, really 3 of them, not the pinky. And you're not using the fingernail. At one time, I did get my fingernail in and it dragged a little bit, but you're only using the tip of your finger getting that pressure. This is all about pressure. And it took me, well, I'm still developing the left hand. The left hand's a little bit slow. It's still not as strong. My right fingers are much stronger. So I'm just getting to the point where I can do it with my left hand as well. But you want to start by just going, because you have to develop the finger strength in the hand you're going to do it. So you want to do it without the aid, and then you can start. I hold these together, so it's giving pressure and it's holding them so that they don't go like that. It's holding them together like this, and I'm just kind of guiding them. It also allows me to guide if I want to do something down here. Oh, good adjustment. I can actually guide it where I want it to go a little bit. So that's pushing gua sha. Well, that's what we'll call it.
Wow.
Okay. Pretty amazing thing. It's awesome. It's one of those stellar things. Is why it's important. My favorite thing to teach, because that is a thing that you're not going to get for a lot of places, a lot of people. But again, it's like it's over the edge into that therapeutic realm where we can make a lot of things happen for a long period of time. And I think that's what makes smiles happen for a long period of time as well, and not the superficial. Not that doesn't serve a purpose, but I think you know where I'm going with this. This is what defines us, I think, as tween-up practitioners. Things like this, because this isn't a bad thing at all. It's a very good thing.
Do you just warn people this is gonna hurt?
Normally I wouldn't do this on a first timer. I have done it on a first timer, and I do it very lightly. I don't go to this extent. I go to this extent maybe. And I'll say there's a little mark on your back. You might see that. Your partner might see that. Whatever. Just know that it's just this. It's X. It's Y. It's Z. Drink lots of water. It might be sore tomorrow. It should go away. It's nothing to worry about. This is what it is. I'll tell them what it is. When it's like this, normally I already know ahead of time we're gonna do that, and I'll just say, hey, we're probably gonna do a couple of techniques that are gonna be a little rigorous, a little painful, but when we get done, you're really gonna benefit and feel the difference in that, and then they're usually cool with it because we said that ahead of time. A couple of times I've done this, then afterwards I'm like, hey, this is what we had to do for that. And I've had one woman come in and say, I love what you did, it really worked. It was just too much for me. I felt it for like 3 days afterwards. I'd rather not do that. So can you just do the same thing, but not to that level? I'm like, yeah, absolutely, cool. So I just do the exact same thing, but stop at a 7. Okay? So that's gua sha pushing. Getting all that, Danny?
Just seemed like